Hello and welcome to
I'm
Brett.
bulletproof.
Oh yeah.
I'm bulletproof.
I'm not gonna shoot you today. Welcome to Bretthalo Sunday Service our way. Minister Russ, how are you?
Just get to heaven.
What do you have in store for us today?
I feel like we got through John 5, okay, but right after I started looking at verily, some of that stuff I was thinking maybe we didn't see so good. Are you able to pull up the end of John 5, or do you want to get right into John 6?
I have to just listen. I don't have the right devices.
You know what? I'm going to trust my judgment, which is not a good thing. Let's go right into 6, John 6, okay?
Okay.
You like where I'm at here?
Yeah.
And this is going to be the Sermon of the Mount, I think. It's that deal when he turns the fish and the bread and he feeds the 10,000s or the 2,000s or whatever. Have you ever heard that parable? It's
Mm.
one of his miracles, to where he was like giving this speech and there were like maybe hundreds of thousands of people, but they only had 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, and he ends up feeding everybody until they can't eat anymore. So
Mm.
anyway, 6. After these things, Jesus went over the sea, which is the sea, and a great multitude. Okay, so anyway, when he's doing back in John 5, he started to. Oh, he was just at that party, and he turned the wine, water to wine. So now these dudes are like following him around and saying, "Dang, I want to party with this guy."
Nice.
And a great multitude followed him because they saw miracles which he did on them. So he saw him, curing people. And he went up into the mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. So anyway, every time he performs one of these miracles, he's got to kind of run to get away from the haters, because there's a lot of people following him. There are a lot of people that don't like the fact that people are following him.
It's causing an uproar.
Yeah, he's causing an uproar of 12 people.
Mm.
Okay, so and the Passover, feast of Jews was near. Jesus then lifted up his eyes, saw a great company come to him, and he said unto Philip, "Whence shall we buy bread that these may eat?" Oh, so anyway, he's setting Philip up. Jesus says to Philip, "Whence?" This is Jesus talking. "Whence shall we buy bread that these may eat?" So he knows he's getting ready to perform this miracle, and he tells it. So he's saying, "Golly gee, where are we going to get the bread to eat?" And this he said to prove him, for he himself knew what he would do. Okay. Philip answered him, 200 pennyworth of bread is not sufficient. So I don't know what 200 pennyworth is, but it's not very much. It's not sufficient. But granted, these are the black letters, so you kind of need to read them, to set up the deal for them, that every one of them may take a little. One of his disciples saith unto him, this lad here, this kid's got 5 loaves and 2 fish. And Jesus say, okay, you guys sit down and eat the 5 loaves and the 2 small fish. And they eat and they're stuffed. And they take the loaf. He distributed to the disciples, like those fishes. When they were filled, he said unto his disciples, just the scraps that were left over. Gather up the scraps that remain, so we don't waste anything. And therefore they gathered them together and filled 12 baskets with the fragments of the 5 barley loaves, which remained over and above unto them that had eaten. So they eat and they pick up the scraps, and it's 5 times more than what they even ate themselves. So then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Jesus did, said, this is of a truth the prophet that should come into the world. So they'd heard about somebody who was going to be able to do this. So when Jesus therefore perceived that they would come and take, so, these guys, they see this miracle, and this is of a truth, the prophet that should come into the world. So Jesus knew that once these guys were talking about him as being a prophet coming to the world, He knew he was in danger. And so when Jesus therefore perceived this, that they would come and take him by force to make him, okay. So anyway, these guys that see he can do these miracles with the loaves of bread, they don't want to crucify him. They want to make him a king so that they can use his miracles to feed them.
Yeah, they want more bread,
Yeah. I was thinking, they're going to kill him because he says he's the Son of God. Well, no, at the very first, when they're following him around, they're saying, hey, damn, got water to wine, fish, and we can eat forever. We'll never have to work again. We follow this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of where you're at?
Yeah.
All right, so where were we? So he knew they were going to come, and make him a king. So he ran into the mountain by himself. And when even was now come, so when the night came, his disciples went down into the sea and entered into a ship and went over to the sea. Okay, so anyway, this is pretty cool. This is when he walks on water. So when even was come, his disciples, so anyway, Jesus up the mountain, disciples go down to the sea, get in a boat. And it was dark. And the sea came up and started blowing like a son of a gun for no reason. So when they had rowed about 5 and 20 furlongs, they can't get anywhere. They're rowing hard and things are bad. And all of a sudden they look up and they see Jesus walking on the water and coming closer and closer to the ship. And they were like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And then Jesus says, it is I, be not afraid. So he walks over to the ship. Then they willingly received him onto the ship. And immediately the ship was at the land. So he gets on the ship, and all of a sudden they're safe and they're on land and they're no longer in this horrible storm. So then the day following, when the people which stood on the other side of the sea, they saw what had happened.
Yeah, I was just wondering who saw it.
Yeah.
Who all?
Okay.
Sounds like it was a plethora.
They also took Okay, so anyway, more people on the other side of the sea, they saw it. Now they're coming. Okay? And when they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said unto him, Rabbi, come hither. Jesus says, verily, verily, I say unto you. Am I spitting a lot?
No, you're good.
We're almost done. Ye seek me not because ye saw the miracles, but because you eat the loaves and were filled. The work, work not for the meat, which, don't slave for the meat, you can eat here, but go for the meat that I'm bringing to you, for everlasting life. Yeah, I have to, I'm down to 28. Then said they unto him, what shall we do that we might work the works of God? Jesus answered, this is the work of God, that ye believe on him who he hath sent. So he's saying, hey, don't fall in love with the loaves and the wine. Just fall in love with the fact that this dude that's here to save you can perform miracles, and it's going to take a damn miracle to save you. Don't you think that's where he's at?
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good place to stop. You like that?
That was really good. I liked it. I didn't know about the bread thing. That was cool.
You'd never heard about feeding the thousands? No. That's a big one. The Sermon on the Mount. Huh. The fact that you've been shielded from that is interesting.
I knew about the water, Yeah,
walking on the water is kind of easy.
And then the wine, for sure, but I didn't know about he was feeding the bellies, too. Cool stuff. Thanks, Dad. I really enjoy doing this.
All right. Bretthalo Sunday Service coming out on...
Thanks to all the minis who joined us.
Yeah. Oh, and, hey, I worked my Tampa doc story. You guys check that out. If you come down the rabbit hole this far, you need to go check out Doc's story and get up to speed. Pretty fun.
We would have my dad share the story, but he wouldn't be able to get through it at all.
We've not done that, have we?
No.
Dude, as a matter of fact, we need to sit down and write some of these ideas and things that we need to pass on. Because we have some edifying things for your OnlyFans that we need to do. We've got some edifying things for your Bretthalo fans we need to do. There's a lot of things that are going to enhance everybody's existence. We need to get more focused in our delivery of the happiness.
I mean, what really how this all started was, we were doing this kind of every other night, and then we just kind of stopped. But if we record it, we want to do it and share it because we think it's cool. So
so they say after you do it like 4 times, you're like hooked. And, we kept doing it, and then we come up with like maybe Father's Day or some cat. The devil's always trying to get in there and give you a reason not to do it.
Yeah, I feel like you're really good at it too.
You'd been
a really
difficult for a rich man to get to heaven than it is for a camel to get through the eye of a needle.
So it's hard to get into heaven if you're rich.
It's difficult because of all the worldly temptations.
All the sinning. Okay.
Oh, dude, I was going to say the hat that I was missing. It's on the outside of the car on the dash, on the windshield.
The hat, the bucket hat?
No, the Bretthalo baseball.
Yeah. All right. Well,
are we done for today?
Yeah, what I was thinking we do is just dance out, and then I'll blower call, and you'll do the blower, and then that's when you'll explode.
All right.
You want to do that?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Dad, remember this?
Oh, yeah. I was doing the book earlier.
Yeah, I saw you doing it. Good memory.
Like my cat daddy.
All right. Love you, Dad.
Love you too, son.
Love you very, very much, and I'll see you out, okay?